Okay, so I thought I would try to do another one really quick about another monster in the Bible. I guess you call it a monster, Behemoth. I've already done another video on this of Leviathan and Behemoth together, but maybe I can do that hopefully I'll try to do the stringing pearls thing. I haven't really prepared anything at all, but where you tie together verse after verse to kind of bring this into clarity. So Behemoth is in Job chapter 41. It says, describes him, it's this big beast. No, Job, not chapter 41, sorry, Job chapter 40. Look now at Behemoth, which I have made with you. He eats grass like an ox. See how his strength is in his hips, and his power in his stomach muscles. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are tightly knit. His bones are beams of bronze. His ribs are like bars of iron. He is the first of the ways of God, one who can made him bring him near his sword. Only he who made him can bring him near his sword, Surely the mountains yield food for him, and all the beasts of the field play there. He lies under the lotus trees, in a covert of reeds and marsh. The lotus trees cover him under their shade. The willows spread the brooks around him. Indeed, the river may rage, and he is not disturbed. He is confident, though the Jordan gushes into his mouth, though he takes it in his eyes, or one pierces his nose with a snare. So there's this confidence between the he stands strong with these this flood waters coming up and gushing through his mouth. He is first of the ways of God. He also eats grass like an ox. He chews the cud. So that okay, where do I want to start with this? Sorry, these are always kind of very scattered. So Behemoth. So the first it's yeah. Anyway, so I'll just say what, then I can maybe kind of build off this. Leviathan, like I've said before, Leviathan is the serpent. It's the great serpent, the pride of all mankind. Everybody kind of has this little serpent of pride in them, but collectively, like if you see Adam as being the collective body of all humanity, Leviathan is kind of the collective being or creature, or just the way to describe the body of the pride of all mankind is in that description of Leviathan. So Behemoth is the righteousness, I would say, of all mankind. I don't know that it would fall under self-righteousness also. I don't know that Behemoth is necessarily humility. Just I'm thinking of, if your conscience is clear and you're living rightly and you're living according to what you know to the best of your knowledge is true and right, that gives you confidence when the flood waters comes. You can stand there confidently in the Jordan. That being said, throughout the whole book of Job before that, Job was kind of doing that, and he was kind of standing in this self-righteous way to where he was still kind of in the wrong, but he was righteous, because it says in the beginning of Job that he was blameless and upright, one who feared God and shunned evil. And he stood there through all this adversity that was coming against him and kept saying, like, to my righteousness I hold fast, I will not let it go. So I don't know that I would necessarily say that it's like that the Behemoth is this image of the proper righteousness of man, but I would say maybe it's just to put it maybe in a more general term of that, it would include that, but it would maybe also include everything else. It's just the righteousness of man's heart. When you know you have this confidence in yourself, within yourself, that's kind of how I would see Behemoth, is a collective body of people that way. He eats grass like an ox. So back to Genesis chapter 1. It's verse 24. Then God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth according to its kind. And it was so. So we have the living creatures. We have cattle, we have creeping thing, and we have beast, the wild beast, right? So so that word cattle there, if you look up the Hebrew word, I don't even know if I'm saying these right, so please forgive me, but Behemoth, instead of Behemoth, it's Behemoth, or Behemoth, I don't know how you say it. So it's like the feminine of that word Behemoth. As far as I know, I think it's feminine. I could be wrong on that, but it's cattle. It's domesticated. It's the domesticated animals of the earth. It's the clean animals, the ones that chew the cud. Man, I was hoping I'd have all my references written down next to that one scripture, but I don't think I do. So anyway, it's the cattle. So the cattle is the one. Let's go try. I know there's another verse somewhere in here I wanted to look at, though. It's Leviticus. So the cattle are like the domesticated animals. They are brought under the covenant. They're brought under the rod of God, the rod of Moses. The rod Moses holds the rod of God in his hand. So, let's see. So there's a verse here. Oh man. Okay. So here I got some other ones. So this word, the herd and the flock. Okay. So this is Leviticus 27. Chapter 27, verse 32. So according to the tithe of the herd and the flock. So I have those circled, and then I wrote to the side, I wrote Leviticus chapter 1 with those two words, herd and flock. I have Leviticus chapter 1, verse 12. So let me look at that. And he shall cut it in pieces. Let's see. Wait, what did I do? Okay, I'm not sure why I have that. No, sorry, verse 2, not 12. All right, so that's what it is. So here it is. Verse 2, it says, you shall bring your offering of the livestock, then it's got a little, whatever, hyphen, it says, of the herd and the flock. So the livestock consists of the herd and the flock, and that word livestock there, again, is that word Behemoth. So we have Behemoth there. In Genesis, we have it's the cattle of the earth, it's clean animals. In Leviticus, it's the livestock, it contains the herd and the flock, it's the clean animals. So then we have, going back to that verse, Leviticus 27:32, concerning the tithe of the herd and the flock. Then it says, of whatever passes under the rod. So the herd and the flock, the Behemoth, that creature Behemoth passes under the rod. So I have it down there written under the rod. I put Exodus 4:20, it talks about the rod of God. Hebrews 12:8. Let me just pull, like I said, I'm going to try to like actually do that idea, string of the different scriptures together. So if I can at least look at a few of them, especially the ones I'm not as familiar with, I don't know what they say offhand. So Hebrews 12:8. I'm also trying to turn with one hand in my Bible because I am holding the phone with the other. So this says, but if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and without sons. So the rod, yeah, the rod and the rebuke, the rod is for rebuke. You know, it brings you pass under that rebuke, you pass under that direction. A shepherd with his rod directs his flock, and they come under it. And so anyways, Job, another one, I got Job 21 verse 9. You're welcome to look these up. It would probably be helpful if you did. That way you can not just trust my word. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying. It's just trying to give people a different way of looking at this. So Job, their houses are safe from here. So this is talking about like the wicked people, and Job is asking like, why do the wicked people prosper? And he says, their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. So the wicked do not have the rod of God upon them. They do not have that chastening. They don't pass under the rod. Then I also have Ezekiel 20:37. And Proverbs 13:24. I'm a little bit curious to look at the Ezekiel one, so I'll do that really quick. The Proverbs one, I think, is the one where it talks about, I mean, Proverbs says it a few times, like you correct a child with the rod. It's probably something along those lines. So going under this correction and direction of God, you're following that conviction of heart, that correction, that rod that He directs you with. Yeah, like a shepherd that'll strike you with if you're acting out in rebellion. Ezekiel 20:37. Let's see. Where's that verse? Alright, next page. Sorry, thought I was there. I will make you pass under the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant. Okay, so that's the one. Yeah, that's the other one I wanted to go to. So that's, yeah, there it says pass under the rod and being in the bond of the covenant. So those who pass under the rod are those who enter the bond of the covenant with God. The bond of the covenant through Moses, the one who holds the rod of God in his hand, who strikes the stone, strikes you with the rod and calls you a rebel. Like, so Moses is that law of God that strikes you and brings that conviction of heart, and calls you out when you're acting out in rebellion. So anyway, like I said, that's just a creature of beast. I'm not even saying that's the proper righteousness, because our righteousness is found through Christ. I'm just saying I like to see I've come to see the behemoth as basically being the image and body of the collective righteousness of man. So those are the verses. I think there may be a few more. I don't know, but that's just what I have written down. So that's another beast. Check that one out the list.